So this is my jar of rocks, pebbles, and sand, and I'd like to talk about it for a couple minutes this morning. Hi there, my name is Florentin. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So we started school yesterday. The first couple of days are just teacher meetings and getting ready and getting the rooms ready. And one activity yesterday was to make our own jars. We've done this before. I've done this before. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the jar filled with rocks, pebbles, and sand. So we had these long tables and empty jars, mason jars, and you had a bunch of larger rocks on one table, and then you had pebbles, smaller pebbles, on a different table, and then you had buckets of sand on a third table. And the idea was to fill up our jars with as much of that stuff as possible, and to differentiate between the large rocks, the pebbles, and the sand. Now, the point here is that if you start with the sand and you fill up the jar with sand, let's say a quarter of the way, and then you put some pebbles in there, which would probably bring you to halfway up, then you'll only be able to fit in a few larger rocks because there's no room left. But if you begin with the larger rocks and you put like 6 or 7 or 8 or even 10 in there, and then you put some of the pebbles and you kind of shake the jar a little bit so they trickle down in between the larger rocks, and then you put a few spoons of sand, very fine sand, and then you shake it some more and you allow the sand to trickle down between the rocks and the pebbles, you can get quite a lot in here. Um, the real point here is that the big rocks, we're talking about priorities here, and this can apply to any area of life that you want to apply it to. Family, career, uh, your music development, um, if you're a school teacher, your classroom management, or even my life as a unit. What are the big rocks for me as a human being? What are the pebbles? What is the sand? For me, for myself, I put 7 larger rocks in there um, for the 7 most important things in my life. And I put one uh, for God, for my faith in God. It's very important to me. And I put 6 rocks in there for my family, myself included. And those would be the first things that I would take care of and make sure everything's okay. I mean, as far as I can help. And and then the pebbles would be, things like my career, my serving at church, my musical development, things of that nature. I didn't name every single pebble. There's quite a few in there. And then the sand is the sand is not unimportant. Nothing in here is unimportant, but the sand is the smaller stuff. Okay, and there's a lot of it, and um, things like maybe in a classroom setting, uh, discipline. Discipline is sand. Uh, it's not unimportant, but it's not the most important thing. And if you are proactive as a teacher, you can eliminate a lot of discipline issues before they even happen. Um, so so the idea here is that you need to prioritize what to put in there first, what to attend to first. Um, if you put the sand in first, like I said, then you're going to take a lot of space with that, and then pebbles, and then there's not much room left for rocks. Same thing if you that's my bell. So that bell is that rocks, pebbles or sand. It's sand. I mean, it's time for me to get ready for the first meeting, and I will in a second. Uh, but so the idea is that if you start with the wrong priority, if you change the order of priorities, then you end up with fewer things in there and fewer of the bigger things in there. Like I would try to never put anything before my family and before my faith, what I believe in. Those things are the most important thing to me. Um, so you start with that, and then you put the pebbles, and then you put the sand, and you end up with a lot of stuff in there. So this may sound silly to some of you. I guess it's kind of a silly example, but I like it a lot, and we've done this 2 or 3 times over the years with different principles. So we did this yesterday. I decorated my jar, put my name in there, Florentin, and I wrote a short rhythm. Maybe some of you can figure out what meter that is. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to figure out the meter of that rhythm. What's the meter signature? There, your time is up. So what is it? Yeah, it's 2/4, right? Because you have one count. Oh, this is backwards. Hold on. I'm doing this. So one count there, a pair of eighth notes, and then an eighth note with a pair of 16th notes. So that's the second count. So it's ta 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 ta. Okay, so that's 1 2 1 2 1 2 ta 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 ta. Okay, so it's 2/4. Sounds like a something you can play on a trumpet maybe, or a repeated note on the maybe the classical guitar or something. Any instrument really. So that's my ramble for this morning. Thank you for coming along. If you have questions or comments, maybe you want to share what are your rocks and pebbles and sand in whatever area of life you want to talk about. Maybe your overall life outlook, or maybe your career or your music development, um, things of that nature. Okay? All right. Thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I hope that you would subscribe. Thank you in advance for that. Give this video a thumbs up if you get a chance. And see you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.